Let us pray. Father God, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity to come and serve like Jesus did, dear Lord, when you came to this world. We ask you now just to be with each of these council members. Give us the wisdom and the knowledge to make decisions that we please in yourself. We ask you to bless our county from top to bottom. Let everybody know who really is in charge and what it's all about. You look at your way and everything you say and do. Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Freedom of information announcement in accordance with the state of South Carolina Code of Law 1976 as amended. The Marion Star Mullins Enterprise has been notified of date, time, place, and agenda of this meeting. Item number 4, approval of minute, March 11, 2025.
So moved. Second.
We got a motion, got a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed likewise. Ayes have it. Resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I have 2 resolutions. The first resolution, if I could ask council for their approval for the Fair Housing Resolution of April 2025. Whereas Marion County desires that all citizens be afforded the opportunity to attain a decent, safe, and sound living environment. And whereas Marion County rejects discrimination on the basis of race, religion, color, sex, national origin, disability, and/or feminine status in the sale, rental, or provision of the housing services. And whereas the state of South Carolina enacted the South Carolina Fair Housing Law in 1998. And whereas April is recognized nationally as Fair Housing Month. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Marion County does designate April as Fair Housing Month, adopted this 27th day of March 2025 by Marion County Council.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion, got a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed likewise. Ayes have it.
And Mr. Chairman, I have one more resolution. I'm asking council's approval for a resolution for Mr. Maceo Nance, who has been instrumental in our economic development and Tri-County Park development here in Marion County. Mr. Nance is retiring from the Department of Commerce, and I'll ask council's approval.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion, got a second, any discussion?
I would just like to say we owe a huge gratitude to Mr. Nance for his 50 years of service to South Carolina, but particularly to rural counties when he served for 27 years, I think, as the director of the Rural Initiative Programs out of the Department of Commerce. He's a great guy. I was with him just a couple of weeks ago in North Augusta. He's actually retired in December. He's going to continue on helping with some small things with the Department of Commerce. But we owe a huge debt of gratitude to him, to a lot of the things that he has done and tried to do for rural counties throughout South Carolina.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ordinance.
Mr. Chairman, if I should ask for this item to be delayed to section 14 on the agenda. There's a couple of substantive legal matters I need to talk to you about this item. I think it's just going to be easier if we do that in executive session and come out in section 14 and vote on that.
So moved.
Second. Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Ayes have it. Committee report. Committee number 1 has nothing this time.
Committee number 2 had nothing before and no report at this time.
Legal update.
I don't have anything in this section, but I do have 2 items to discuss with you in executive session.
Miss Linda Adams, PD Coalition Sexual Assault Awareness Month.
Good evening, everyone. The coalition would like to thank you for allowing us to come to share some information about our program and things that we do in the community. That affects basically everyone. So good evening. Of course, my name is Linda Adams, as he stated, and I'm the trauma counselor of PD Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. We are a nonprofit volunteer organization. We are dedicated to the reduction of family violence, sexual assault, child abuse, and the needs of our victims. So we want to talk a little bit about April, which is our Sexual Assault Awareness Month, as long as with the Child Abuse Prevention Month as well. Today, I would like to provide to you some facts. So facts about sexual assault and child abuse, and some of the free services that Peter Coalition actually offers and provides to support our victims, as well as hold the offenders responsible for their actions. Okay, so here's some statistics. In 2024, South Carolina alone reported 285 human trafficking tips, with 94% involved in sex trafficking. The state also saw a 58% increase in the number of adult victims. Statistics of sexual assault in South Carolina is 15 crisis centers in South Carolina serve about 7,000 victims and survivors each year. 12% of primary victims of sexual assault report to law enforcement. That's 92% of primary victims knew or know their offender. A survey that was found stated that 42.3% of women and 29.2% of men in South Carolina alone experienced physical violence, sexual violence, and are stalking in an intimate situation or partner. South Carolina has 47.8%, which totaled 2,468 rapes. Now, a little bit about the Children Advocacy Center. This is information and statistics from actually 2023. Alone in South Carolina, which provides services to 13,143 children, which was actually a 4% increase back in 2022. Our child abuse statistics states in South Carolina alone, sexual abuse was the most common type of abuse reported, which was followed by physical abuse. A large percentage of offenders involved in crimes against children are known to the child or to the family. Neglect is the most form of abuse. Neglect is the most common form of abuse. 20 to 25% of Children Advocacy Centers cases every year involve a child hurting another child. This information is from DSS. Those are the statistics and information about sexual assault and in reference to South Carolina. And I want to also add and remind or state that Peter Coalition, we offer a 24-hour crisis line, free emergency shelter that houses women and minor children up to 90 days. We also have a transitional shelter, which is up to a year. We offer free trauma counseling, court accompaniment, and hospital advocacy, as well as a direct children's center located in 4 counties: over in Florence, Sumter, Kingstree, and Hospital. That provides interview to the children who have experienced sexual or physical abuse and or have witnessed to domestic violence alone. They receive a thorough head-to-toe examination from our physicians and are referred to licensed trauma-focused counselors for mental health services. Lastly, Peter Coalition provides paid offender programs for those through Alternative to Violence program that's provide evidence-based services for offenders to help them take responsibilities for their abusive behavior. And although Peter Coalition provides these much-needed free services to victims, we survive off of generous donations from organizations, agencies, businesses, and foundations. So we ask that you please continue to remember us in your yearly charitable givings. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you this evening. And Ms. Smith, she actually gave you some of these. This is our activities that we're planning to do for April. Okay, we want you to get an early start. That's why we normally come in April, but We want you to get involved this time, and you can see the first one says April 1st. So we want you to come out and support us during these activities. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Good day. Number 10, administrative update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council, and those of you who are in attendance today. I just have some brief updates. The first update is I would like to ask council's approval for a bid for the Marion County outfall ditch cleaning. As you are aware, the contractor that we had before is now deceased, and we are looking for another contractor to do our outfall ditches. So we did do a bid, and that bid came in, and that was Mr. Mark Hewitt, who was able to get the lowest bid. So I was asking if council can approve that for Mark Hewitt.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second in discussion.
I have a question. How long was that bid posted?
We have to post the bid at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it's posted on our website as well as Skipo.
Well, I know one of the concerns that I've heard from some constituents is that it's hard to get to that bid information on the county's website. Like it's not on the homepage. You have to go within one section and go within another section
Okay,
to pull up that information.
I can
It's
take a
really
look
hard
at
to
that.
access.
I haven't had anyone to say that before, but I can make it more accessible on our main page, but we do have a bids online under our departments. But I can make that more accessible, but we also posted on the South Carolina Business Opportunities page as well. Also,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed likewise? That's it.
thank you, Mr. Chairman and Council. Secondly, I provided you with your February financial report. And lastly, just want to remind those of you who are in attendance, please sign up for Text My Gov. I say this every meeting, that is the most efficient way to receive information, county information, whether it's road closures or whether it's weather related. That is going to be our main source of communication is Text My Gov. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council.
All right, number 11, is that
Yes, sir.
Okay. 12, comments from council member council.
Well, I just want to acknowledge certainly passing of Miss Hannah Ford. She was funeralized over the weekend. She fostered 217 children in her lifetime. And so the St. Mary's community, larger Marion County community of people who knew her, mourned her, and celebrated her life with many of the younger people who are now thriving adults that she fostered. It was just a remarkable human being. Someone who was very kind to me, knew my father very well. And I just wanted to acknowledge her support to this county. Her service is just tremendous. I do have a question, a request. I'm wondering if we cannot email everyone who has a business license with the county our bids. Because when they fill out that information, they have their email addresses. So if it's related to their business, why can't we just send them an email saying this bid is available if they have a business license on record with the county?
Typically what happens, and what I've seen in other organizations is we subscribe to a national site that those contractors also have the ability to go on, and those particular sites provide email notifications. So they get those notifications, and as a county, we are required to put our information on those particular sites. We can definitely look into, and I know with certain businesses, I've asked for contractors' information and kind of did a courtesy call. I will look into the email notification, but I do know that with our South Carolina Business Association, that sends them information as well, as long as they're subscribed to that. So it is something we can look into, and it's not something that we're currently doing.
I think it would be advantageous to people in Marion County who have businesses here and who have business licenses to be able to just receive that information as soon as it's available.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just add one little legal tidbit to that. Just so we're not creating a bigger issue by trying to fix something, which is certainly needs to happen. If we left it to, because I want to make sure I got what you were saying. I thought you were saying to all the business license, we can send out notifications to classes of people. We have to be careful not to sectionalize it to where we break it down and we're only showing preferential treatment to certain types of folks. So if we did it, the business licenses across the board, I think it would work. If you tried to localize it to what that bid was about, I think we tread a little bit into a territory we don't need to get into.
I think that would be fine, just sending it out to everyone with the business license across the board.
And I will say that we are updating our business license system. And so as we transition to that system, currently that old system is not capable of sending out a mass email in that sense, but hopefully with the new system that we're transitioning to, it may be an option that we can, kind of drop that information into an email format. But we will look into it.
Okay. The only situation I would have is in case somehow somebody didn't get notified. And then we go on and do all this bidding. And then somebody comes back and says, well, you were supposed to let me know. I like the idea of putting a notification, anybody would like to bid on any goods and services. Send your name, your address, whatever you need. And then we'll be glad to send you an opportunity or give you an opportunity. If you open it up to where it's our responsibility to go another step, I think you're gonna do yourself a hole. I really do. Because we tried that probably 10 or 15 years ago, and then all of a sudden we realized, business people know how to do that. Well, they don't know how to do it, they need to learn how.
We've had a whole lot of advances in technology since then, particularly with the new system that the county has adopted with enterprise software. And so this is very easy for someone to come put their business license in at the office here, for that staffer who's competent to enter that information into the system so that it can then be auto-generated to send out whenever a request is put in to put out a bid or an RFP, that will automatically go out to everyone that's in the system. So the chances of user error on the side of employees is very low when you use the system as it's designed to be used.
I will comment and say, I think the most effective way is what you said in the beginning, was maybe putting our new bids, available online on our front page. I think that will limit the amount of problems that we have if we don't send everybody an email. Maybe an email jumped back, maybe they didn't get an email, and I know that happens a lot. But it's something we will look into, but I definitely in the short term can put the new bids online on the front page.
Yes, and there's no reason why we couldn't do both.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ms. Chavis, what made the outfall ditches bids different from the bids we did for the sale of our timber? For the sale of our timber? The timber bids?
What made it different? It wasn't different. We opened it up for 2 weeks. The sale of timber was through a consultant. And the consultant took over the process that we would have, because we don't have any timber professionals here to know what type of timber to cut, how much timber to cut, and all of that information has to be given to the logger before they actually cut the timber. So the information is different when it comes to a timber sale rather than a contractor who is doing one specific job, which is outfall ditches. So that's the difference.
On that, have they already started the cutting of our timber?
Yes.
Okay, and the next bid will be going out when?
I will check with our consultant, because the type of timber depends on the weather and depends on the season. So we've cut maybe about 5 tracks and probably have about 4 or 5 left. But I've communicated with that consultant our concerns on making sure that Marion County timber businesses are aware.
They did get left out. I did some calling around and, all the timber bodies and cutters and surrounding this area. They kind of noticed they've been looking on the website where it's been posted.
And for the timber sales, that, again, the consultant through the American Forestry was over the timber bids. So we did not post it on, it is posted on Skibo, actually, excuse me, it is posted on Skibo. But I did communicate after you mentioned to me that there was one that was not aware. I did talk to that consultant and he has since opened it and notified the locals. Now, he did say that there were some Marion County, they may live in Marion County, but their business is associated somewhere else. And it's also the type of timber, because not every logger cuts the same type of timber. But I did have that conversation with him, and so moving forward, we'll make sure that everybody is aware.
When did we award the bid to the highest bidder, or he, the consultant awarded?
The consultant,
He did, so it
Yes.
didn't come back to you.
no, it is not. It is through a consultant. It's through a consulting firm through the American Forestry. So the bids don't come back. We hired him to take over the timber bids.
In this process, the high bid is going to receive it.
Correct. Still the same process. No,
Where's consultant, where they from?
he was from American Forestry, out of Bennettsville.
Executive session?
Move.
And one other comment before we go to executive session. I know some of y'all might know that I've had some surgery, but I want to thank the ones that have been praying for me. Because I promise you, this ain't no joke. So don't let anybody talk you into getting a knee replacement for this. You definitely need a knee replacement, but I want to thank you.
All that weight on you, that's why you have trouble.
I got rid of some of it.
Got a motion, got a second in discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Sabrina.
I'm sorry.
Reading.
Person. Personnel.
And I also have contractual.
Gotcha.
And legal matter.
I think I have approved.
All right, went into executive session. No action was taken. Can I hear, come out of executive session?
So moved.
Got a motion, got a second in discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Ah.
Roy?
I move we adjourn.
We've got to clean up the one issue I asked to be moved to after this, which is, this is ordinance section 6. Second reading of ordinance 2025-01. If I can ask for an amendment to the title, I'm going to read it as it's going to be amended. And so the first vote we just need to take is on amending that title. So this is second reading of ordinance 2025-01, an ordinance to authorize the conveyance of a portion of Marion County tax parcel numbers 055-00-00-008-000 and 056-00-00-193-000 containing 5.89 acres off Lipscomb Road to Robert K. Grant pursuant to the terms of a purchase and sale agreement dated and attached here to and made a part hereof to authorize the county administrator or the county chairman of county council to execute any and all documents for the conveyance and transfer of the property and to authorize all of the matters related thereto to effectuate the conveyance. So can I please ask for you to vote on that amendment of that title first, please?
So move. Second.
I got a motion, got a second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise?
Nay.
All right. Let's show your hand. Let's show a raise of hand. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, raise your hand. I'm sorry.
All right, so now we have that title that I just read into the record as amended. So now we need to take action on that ordinance. You have a full copy of that ordinance in front of you. Take action on that, please. I do want to clarify one thing though, before you vote. The 5.89 acres is comprised of areas A, B, C, and half of area D to come up with that 5.89 acres. And those are off of a map that is incorporated to this that was done by David Bird on January 20th, 2025. So please, can we take action on that?
So move.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second, any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, raise your hand. I said it.
That's all I have.
Chairman, thank you much.
We're adjourned.
Give him all that. Give him
$12,000. But this.
It's probably got twice that.
Okay,
I'm saying
appoint
half of that.
half of that, okay.
2.11.
And then what was the other one?
This.
And then
I'm up.